It's spinning, and I think we're live now. I don't know.
Are we live?
Well, let's see if it comes up as being live. Push this button right here.
Oh, we are live.
Push that button. There we go.
Why are we so dark?
It looked like it automatically adjusted. I don't know. It's the camera.
Yeah, okay.
So we're live on Conkys Flippin Adventures. If there's anybody here, I see. Oh, there's a number right there. It says 24.
Don't we get to see the chat?
We do if somebody types something in.
Oh, okay.
So if you're here, type something in the chat. Up there we go.
All right.
Andrea says hello.
I feel like we're so dark that people can't see us.
They can see us.
Can you see us? Do we look like really dark?
Well, we're not going to look like we did before, and we'll explain that.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe the camera down just a little bit.
Okay. Move the camera. Just bear with us here. We're doing something new.
That looks a little better.
All right.
I mean, here.
So
maybe just turn it a little bit because I'm over here.
There.
Don't go back a little bit. Now you're off center.
I'm fine. I don't have to be centered in the camera. You can be centered in the camera. There you go. So the live looks a little different tonight because, well, I guess we'll get into that later. What do we do today? Or do you want to start with that? Should we start with that?
If you like, go right ahead.
Okay. Caroline says, blame Jeremy. You know what? It's all Jeremy's fault.
It is Jeremy's fault.
Actually, it is.
It is. Yeah. It's Jeremy's fault.
So today we got up at
6
around
o'clock.
6 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an auction up in Paynesville. And this particular auction
starts at the godly hour. Ungodly hour. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. in the morning. And for us, that's about a what? To get
it's actually in pure driving, it's a little over an hour to get there.
Yeah. So that's how we had to get up early, get ourselves cleaned up and get the heck out the door. And so we went up to Paynesville.
We're at Paynesville, and it's normally in Paynesville, there's two different places you go.
Like I said, we'll just blame Jeremy.
Yeah.
We'll blame Jeremy. It's his fault.
Jeremy, the reason the screen's so dark is your fault.
Your fault. Yeah. There you go.
Where do you see how we justify that? I mean, so normally we go to Paynesville. There's two places we go to. Today there was a bonus. There was a third place we went to, and that was in Chardon. And the two Paynesville locations, we were joking around about we were just going to buy him for Jeremy, and
we were just going to buy him.
Just buy him for Jeremy. He couldn't make it today, so we were just going to buy him for him because we knew he was going to buy him anyway. And the first one went for $2. The second one didn't sell for $2. And the third one actually, I think, went for
like $70.
Yeah, $70. Yeah. It was actually it had toilet paper in it.
It had toilet paper in it, so
And I remember hearing one of the ladies at the auction telling somebody that it looked like the toilet paper was all stolen from a hotel because the way it was wrapped up.
But then again, we did back. The funny story about the toilet paper for us is back in 2020. Yeah,
2020. It was like
2020,
February or March.
The local Kmart went out of business, and you and Dan the man, went up there, and they were basically selling fixtures and shelving, basically all the
well, they were selling all the stuff they used to run the store, not just the inventory they were selling as their merchandise, but they were selling everything to the wall. It turned into a U-Haul. Oh, thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, appreciate it. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can highlight or not. If I do that, no, there's nothing to. I can't do anything.
And that's how you got.
So I got this huge case of toilet paper, and it lasts us all through COVID.
So it was wrapped up like that. It was it was like what they would put in the restrooms. And the last couple items there were these boxes of toilet paper, and Dan the man got one, and then you got one, and it got us through COVID. Yeah. I think we had that box. There was like, oh God, like 80 rolls or so in there.
Yeah.
And it lasted till like Thanksgiving.
So anyway, we go through the auction, and the Chardon was really the best units.
Though I have to say that the units off the freeway there, I mean, they were crap. They were all crap.
Yeah.
You didn't miss anything, Jeremy.
And you didn't miss anything at was it Oakwood or Beechnut?
Chestnut. Yeah. There's 3 units there, and the decent unit there.
Yeah, I mean they were better than the first 3, but
the best unit there. Vandy's Treasures got it.
Got a good one. Yeah.
They got a good one. This one guy, I mean, they opened it up. It was full. It was garbage.
Oh my God! There was a sweeper there with a clear, like a clear container, and I don't even want to describe what it looked like because it looked like about the worst thing you could possibly imagine a sweeper looking like on the inside.
Yeah. But there was a washer and dryer in there, and the kid goes, "I'll buy this." And
yeah, so I mean, whoever bought it, if they can stomach the smell and things, there were things in there that the kid's gonna make some money on, but
a lot of work.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And then we went to
the one in Chardon,
and there were 3 pretty decent units there.
Really decent units.
Big ones, and J&J got one.
J&J got. Basically what it was, and this is what fascinates me, the 3 units, 2 of them were owned by one owner and then another one. The one that had the 2, over time they spent $50,000 in storage fees. $50,000 in storage fees.
I can't.
And then the other one, the one single one, $25,000 in storage fees.
I'm amazed. That tells me that being in the storage unit rental business is one of the best businesses to be in.
I think
to just sit there and rake in money every month for, you don't have to worry about people calling you because the furnace broke. It's way better than residential real estate, in my opinion.
And then you're only spending a couple $100 a month. You don't really think about it. You just keep paying it and keep, in a single year. A lot of these places are what, like $150 to $200 a month.
No, those units were quite a bit more than that, but
still, in a year you can rack up real quick, and if you've been holding on to it for 10 years, you've really racked it up. So it does get to the point, why?
Well, I mean, I've rented storage units a couple times. And each time I rented one, it's like, okay, I'm renting this 10 by, the last one I rented was right up the street. It was a 10 by 15 or a 10 by 20. Mm-hmm. And I used it for like 6 months. Mm-hmm. And while I was using it, I was looking for some better deal. And what I wound up renting after that was a half a guy's garage. And I got that way cheaper than what I was spending on the storage unit. And I was only there for 6 months before I rented a huge a garage that was about the size of the one I built for $150 a month. Mm-hmm. And I was able to work in there and everything. It had a pit. I was able to pull the car in and go down the pit and work on my car. It had electric and everything.
But eventually,
and I rented that until I couldn't rent that anymore. And then I rented some warehouse space.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it was insane. It was like $400 a month.
Right.
But it was emergency. I had to get out of where I was, and I had grown into the space. Mm-hmm. So I rented this warehouse space, and as soon as I rented the warehouse space, we started very shortly after that just making plans to build my own garage, and that's when I built the garage in the backyard. But anyway, we sort of digress. But so Chardon was a good 3 units,
right?
And we had a visitor that drove down from Michigan, basically just to meet me and show me. Now this I've met her before. Mm-hmm. I want her to type in the chat before I say her name and see if she says it, because she might be driving back. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, she might be driving.
First of all, she said, "Oh yeah, we met you guys at Half Mill Time to Grill."
Yeah, so she looked familiar, but I couldn't
Right.
Couldn't quite place it. She was at Half Mill Time to Grill.
And her name was Vicky. And if you ever see her in a chat, she goes by Dolphins4.
Yeah, I was looking for her in the thing.
And she was a real sweet lady. We enjoyed meeting her. She had a specific reason to see you.
Well, she wanted some calculations done.
She wanted some calculations, yes.
And she offered me, she says, I said, I've got a van load of, she said models. But it was a combination of models, promos, die-cast, different
model
things.
Kits, not put together, brand new model kits.
And she says, if you give me your calculations, I'll give you a piece of your choosing. I said, oh, cool. I wasn't going to say no. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to say no anyway. All you need to do is like dangle some model kits or some die-cast in front of me, and I'm off. You know what I mean?
you were.
So they were still auctioning off the last unit, the one that J&J bought.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked, with her to the Van Arena, and I walked over there, and we were looking at the stuff, and
it wasn't too shabby.
It was pretty good stuff.
It wasn't too shabby.
And we were supposed to go to lunch afterwards, and I think Rob offered. He really offered. He just bought pizza and had the pizza brought in. So I was like, well, we got to run out. I looked at the stuff. And I did my best to tell her, what she had and the best way to liquidate it if she wanted to, put the work into it. And we decided we were going to go and get some potato chips and some pop.
Mm-hmm. And then on the way, we get a phone call.
Well, we'll discuss the phone call in a minute.
Okay.
But so we went to get potato chips and pop, and we came back. So we actually had to leave early. Mm-hmm. But the piece that she gave, the piece that I picked out, on the way I asked Noreen to look it up and see what if it was like a valuable thing on eBay, and it turned out it was. So I wound up giving her a little bit of money for it. But it is. See if you guys. I don't want to drop it.
Don't drop it.
I don't want to drop it because it's in such nice condition.
Yes.
You guys are all familiar with the General Lee, the Dukes of Hazzard, and a lot of that stuff's put out by Ertl. I've never seen the Ertl Daisy Jeep. And there is one in really nice condition. I wish the video was better, and I'll get into that later. But it still has the windshield. It still has the spare tire. It still has the roll bar.
Yeah.
The gear shifter still. You see the gear shifter still in there.
A lot of those I saw on eBay, the roll bar was.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff was missing or just beat up.
Right. And
so when I found out what this thing was worth, I did give her some money for it. So.
Yeah.
And then I think.
And she gave me something too.
Well,
she gave me a TY Angel.
It's a cute little bear.
It is, isn't it? Cute little bear.
Because there was some TY mixed in with the thing, but it was mostly.
She gave me this. This is going to go in my little plush collection above my side of the bed there with the other plushies I got there. So thank you so much, Vicki. That was really sweet. I really like this.
And I think the rest of it is. I think Rob's going to sell it for her.
Rob's going to help her with it, yeah.
She basically wanted to, I think that's what she really wanted to do. She wanted to have Rob consign the lot. So I'm probably going to be bidding on some of the stuff on Rob's auction. Mm-hmm. I've got my eye on some things, but I got to wait until that all plays out. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, and I don't really want to step over what what I know about. I don't want to really speak for anybody else or anything, but that's kind of what I think is going to happen.
So if you guys are not subscribed, check out J&J Family Finds, because they got this.
Yeah, they got a really neat unit.
Neat unit. The guy stored his stuff there for like 20 years. You opened up everything was like dusty box, everything.
Yeah, that's what you look for in a storage unit.
It jam-packed.
And I'm not going to give away anything else because I want you to go to their thing. Now, one neat thing was...
neat thing she did do, and some of you in the chat may have caught on to it, she actually did a live from the auction run today.
So what you would have seen if you just saw their live, I don't know if it's still up or not. Let me move this real quick. I'm going to put you right there because I know nothing can happen to you. All you can do is slip down under the glove. Now, Joe he knows that I collect these things. He had communicated with me, before the auction, so a couple weeks ago, and asked me if he'd sent me some pictures of some Tonka he had, and asked me if I had any interest in anything. I told him, yeah. I said I'm interested in this, and he brought this to the auction with him today. But how he gave it to me was the cutest. And they've got a little black dog. Her name's
Chihuahua,
Remy.
hairy Chihuahua.
And he had somehow had it hooked up to her leash so that the leash was around the windshield thing here. Yeah. And she's pulling it towards me. Only as she's pulling it towards me, she's looking back at it.
Freaking
and she's like, I'm going to get run over. So she starts running fast. She had this little Tonka truck going. I mean, it was moving. She had it moving faster than any Tonka truck I ever had moving.
And yeah, she did yank off the top.
Yeah, there. So yeah, I mean, these should pop off. So, I don't know whether they leave their lives up or not. If you can go back and look at that, but that was fun. It's going to be early on in the live because I think they were live for the whole.
They did the
thing.
Whole
live. It would have been like several.
It was at the first place too.
Yeah, it would have been a several-hour live, and this would have been like within the first maybe 20 minutes. I don't know what time it went live, but this would have been in the first.
But they definitely gave you a feel what it's like to be on an auction run.
Yeah.
Last day around, BSing, a little bit of auction, travel, sit around, do a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good time. It's great to see everybody. We saw Vandy's Treasures there.
My auction will be in July or August.
Okay. All right, Dolphins. We'll keep an eye.
I don't know if she just got in here. I had this little Jeep up here, but I didn't want to drop it.
Again, thank you, Vicki. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate you coming to see me at the auction. And from what I understand, she went to, because she was driving down from Michigan, she went to the probably Chestnut first, or maybe to
she said the other one. Yeah, she came down from Michigan and
then then drove down because she got there as the last unit was being auctioned off
at the Chestnut.
So another 10 or 15 minutes later, I think what, again, I don't want to speak for somebody else. I think what prompted Rob to just buy pizza is because he knew that when J&J bought the unit they bought, they were going to be there for a while. They wanted, we all wanted to eat it again. Now, that gets us back to what we started to talk about earlier, which is we couldn't even stay for the pizza.
Right. It looked good too.
Yeah.
Our daughter calls. Our daughter is in the process of moving. So she calls and I have boxes. I have bins of books I need to move and my bookshelves and everything. Can I have help?
So it's like, well, good thing we drove the truck and didn't buy a unit because we wound up going from there down to where she lives now and loaded up the shelves. We put the books in her car. We loaded up the shelves in the back of the truck and drove to her new place. And
now we know where she's going to move to. So that's kind of nice. So,
and then we got home at what time did we actually finally
I think we got home a little after 4.
It was a little after 4. Eddie was glad to see us.
Oh, yes, he was. It was almost 4:30 because sure enough, as soon as he gave his greetings and he went right in front of the refrigerator. The refrigerator door.
Yeah.
Because
Where's my food? So you guys are probably wondering what's going on with the poor video quality and the lack of the Eddie cam. It's kind of a funny story. With StreamYard, it has this camera is like a 1080p camera, and StreamYard has an option for using the full capacity of the camera, and doing like light correction and all that. I got an email a few weeks ago that said, your StreamYard is gonna renew. It's gonna renew on the 8th, and this is the amount. And I looked at the amount and thought, holy crap, that can't be right. And then I remember last year it was like $600 and some. Well, this year the number starts with an 8. And I looked at that and I thought, 800 and I forget, it was like 830 some dollars. I forget what the exact amount was. And I started looking at all these features you get with the $800 some a month plan. It's like you can have up to 10 people in your stream, and you can have separate audio controls for this. Like, I don't need all this crap. The one thing that that I did use on that was the extra camera. So you can add an extra camera, and that was the Eddie cam. It's like, do I really want to spend $800 some for a year of just showing the dog at our feet? I might be able to come up with a better way to do that where I'm not spending that kind of money. And then I looked at the other plan. It's like, well, I don't necessarily need anything in here. And then I started looking at the free plan. See, I originally, when I started doing lives, I started on the free plan. You can always tell which ones those are because the duck was up in the corner. And Pam says, not just any dog, it's Eddie.
Yeah.
And what it was at the time, and probably still now, if I could access the free plan, you had a certain number of hours a month, and I forget what that number was. But between being on our lives and doing the auctions and sometimes being on for 3, maybe 4 hours a night, per Saturday night, and doing the AA, because at the time I was doing AA on my channel, and that could go on for a couple hours, I was bumping up against that limit to a point where, like, before it reset for the month or whatever the month thing was, I was like, we can only be on for this much time tonight, and we got to get off because I don't want to go over the limit. So I opted for a plan and wound up, because at the time it wasn't that expensive. I think it was just a few $100, and it just kept going up every year. And now when I saw that number beginning with an 8, and I'll tell you exactly what it was, because I'm not trying to be cryptic about this or anything. I can't remember, and I don't want to. $827.88
for a year,
and that's discounted because I was paying it like all at once. I wasn't making monthly payment. Anytime I can save a little bit of money by saying, like, here's for the year or whatever, I just do it. It was $88 something a month if you just did by the month, or whatever it works out to be for the year for that. So my bank actually sent me a thing saying, look, StreamYard tried to charge your thing for this amount. Was this supposed to happen? I'm like, well, it wasn't supposed to happen till tomorrow. I was hoping to get through tonight with the StreamYard, and then, like, after the show, because they said it was supposed to be done on the 8th, after the show, just move over to the free plan because it looked like it was still available. Well, when I went in there, it didn't look like the free plan was available. All my choices involved several $100. Like, well, I don't really want to I want to think about this. I want to figure out what I want to do. Excuse me, in my throat. So I just set this live tonight up in YouTube. So you're getting the it's almost as if we went on a phone, but we're on a computer. So that's why the dark grainy picture you guys are getting tonight. So I started looking at other, I don't have anything against StreamYard. I like StreamYard. They served us well. It didn't seem to be glitchy. It always, like I said, always worked. It always worked the way I wanted it to. It was convenient. I just wish it wasn't so darn expensive. So I'm actually going to start exploring like different things, so that maybe next week I might be trying something new, or I might have figured out StreamYard, the free StreamYard again, or I might be trying something new. There's other streaming platforms that I can try. But they're like, oh, you can stream to YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and Twitter and X and all. It's like, I don't want to do that. That has no value to me whatsoever. It reminds me of years ago. I used to work for an Oldsmobile dealership, Vandiver Oldsmobile, and I remember every once in a while, it's like they never just hired one. It was always this big push to get all this new blood in here, as far as salesmen go.
Right, because they know they don't last sometimes.
So they had this young kid in there, and I say young kid. I was a young kid at the time too. This guy, I was probably, when I was doing this job, I was in my 20s. By the time I was 30, I was, the place was long gone. So I was in my probably middle 20s, and they had a kid in there that I think was younger than me, selling cars. And he had this older couple in there. This couple had to be in their 80s. That's all, Oldsmobile, 75 plus. That's why they had that, before they closed up shop and stopped making cars. They had that slogan that says, "Not your father's Oldsmobile." But this 22-year-old kid had this 80-some-year-old couple in there, and he's trying to sell them a car. Now, that was probably their, they're probably going in there for their 10th Oldsmobile. You know what I mean? They look like the kind of couple that dance. Tell us what you really think. They look like the kind of couple that bought a new car every 10 years. So the kid didn't really have to try hard to sell this car, but he was trying to describe them how great the radio was, and doing all this thing about the CD player and all that. And I'm sitting there thinking, kid, you're going to lose them. These people don't know what a CD is, and you're trying to sell them on a CD player in a car. I said, go back to the things that they care about. The Oldsmobile name, the comfy seats, the whatever 80-year, I don't know because I'm not that old yet, but whatever's important to people.
We kind of understand.
Whatever is the comfort of the car, reliability, things like that.
Reliability.
Each thing on the radio pay, you know what I mean? Just
they don't care.
But my point in saying all that is, I don't care about all this stuff that makes this service so expensive. The things that I care about, I think I can get for free or a lot less money. So that's what I'm going to do in the next week, is try to figure out another solution rather than paying $800 some dollars.
Yeah, that is, it's one thing.
But in the meantime, I apologize for the grainy, crappy looking, video there. You okay over there? And the lack of the Eddie cam. He's just laying down there. I mean,
yeah, we'll figure something out.
If he were the type of dog that allowed you to pick him up, I would just grab him and put him on my lap. But he's not. He really hates being picked up. So,
and we have to respect that.
Yeah. And what's funny is, like when it's bath time, I just say, you're filthy, get in the tub. And he just try, jump. He's in the tub and he just sits there and looks at me.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean? Anytime he does what he's told. I don't think I've ever had a dog that listened to directions so much. You know what I mean? I've never had a dog so much listen to me and do what I tell him with no training whatsoever.
Yeah, that one
from us. I don't know how he's trained before.
But yeah, he's a wonderful dog. We just love him, and he really connects with you. He really looks at you and connects with you. He's just a sweetheart. And it was nice this week because I'm back on the eBay train. And, I'm out there in the living room taking pictures, and he's on the couch, hanging out with me. And I go, you're the best coworker ever. You're there hanging out with me, and you don't say nothing to me. You leave me alone. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm definitely back on the eBay train. So I'm busy doing that.
So you had I
had
a little adventure this week where you found something.
A tiny adventure.
Yeah. And I think we're going to give it away.
We're going to give it away. Because it was funny because on AA, every now and then I'll come down and pop in, give you a little sugar. There's your little sugar. And the guy started, well, look what I got. Look what I got. So I had to come down here. I said, okay.
You want me to show it?
No, hold on.
All right.
I said, you know what, guys? I found silver today. You found silver? I found silver. And I was telling the tale, and how is that, and I looked down, and there's this stuff there, this little shiny thing. And, I thought about, and then I thought, well, why not? So
yeah, for the cost of bending over to pick it up, you see what it is.
Brought it home.
And there it is.
Now, it looks like it came off of maybe a keychain. I don't know what it is.
Charm bracelet or something. I don't know.
But I brought it home. Got the jewel glasses, the jewel, what do you call those? The loops out. This is a piece of sterling silver. And I was able to make out that it's stamped Tiffany and Company. And it is marked sterling on the metal here, the little piece here. And there's like this little something here. I don't know what this is. And it's got sterling stamped on this too. And I go, this is sterling silver, guys, from Tiffany and Company. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. It's,
If you know where she found it, you know how.
Yeah.
How it would be not pretty.
So we're gonna stop here for a second.
Make sure you're in live chat.
Make sure you're in live chat. If you would like a piece of sterling, this is probably worth about $3 to $4 if you took it to get it melted. If you're interested in this, we're going to open up the chat. If you were in AA, you'd know exactly where I found it. But if anybody wants to take a stab where I found this, put it in the chat. I'm going to have Conky watch because I don't have my glasses on. And the first person who gets it, I will send it to you free. All you got to do is email me your address, and I will mail this to you free as a little gift to say,
thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Yeah. And that everything has value. Everything has value.
Susan said parking. I can't highlight it. Susan.
I'm gonna go with Amy. You know why? Because she's specific.
The parking lot at the grocery store.
There you go.
Okay.
All righty. And Susan, if you want to send me something, I'll send you a little something too. She was part right, but I was gonna say I was looking for something more very specific. Okay. Yeah. Because I found this in the parking lot. It's been run over a few times. So
Susan and Amy send an email to Conkys Flippin Adventures at gmail.com.
Might want to type it in the chat, or if Lance can put it in the chat. I'll send this to Amy, and Susan, I'll find a little something and send it to you too. Thank you, guys.
See if I can get that in there. Make sure I spelled it right.
Conkys.
There we go.
Flippin Adventures. Okay. Yeah. And I will mail you that free of charge, ladies. Thank you so much.
Places in your driveway. Well, I don't know how it would have got there. It could have fell out of something if we found it in our driveway.
It could have, but this was specifically in the grocery store parking lot. I looked down, the sun was shining on it, and I thought, maybe it was a dime or something, But I thought, what the heck? I was so surprised, and I brought this home, and it said sterling on it, and and then I saw Tiffany was on there. It was kind of getting ready to wear off, but yeah. So if you'd like to have that, it's just a thought that, you know what? Everything has value. Never look at book by its covers, you would say. Because, sometimes they go, book looks great because look at the cover, and then it's a crappy story. But this kind of reminds, this is what I thought of, like everything, there's value to everything.
So, I forgot what I was going to say. See, that's what happens when you get old.
Yes, thoughts come and thoughts go, and you lose them.
Well, Joyce is Conkys bread, so I guess we could do the state of the bread. We could do
state of the bread. But I thought that was funny because, they were talking about the gold pieces they found and the jewelry and and I thought, I'm going to go down there. I found silver. And I did. I mean, I even looked it up. I comped that it's about $3 worth. But hey, you know what?
That's what I was going to say. The pennies, they're going to stop making pennies.
I heard
so when you start seeing pennies on the ground, now I always pick them up anyway. And I saw one today, and I forgot to bend down and pick it. I had some in my arms, and I was going to go back and get it, but they're not making pennies anymore. What's going to happen? Well, I think they're still going to make one more batch or whatever. But what's going to happen is they're going to disappear fast because nobody's going to. Because as soon as the bank gets them, they're going to take them out of circulation rather than leaving them in. Yeah. I would just leave them in and let them spin back and forth. But they're going to disappear fast. So
basically, everything's going to sell for a round off to the 5, right?
I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know how that's going to work. I think it's crazy. Yeah.
So we got
your taxes are like 6.78% sales tax.
So full loaf, 4 slices going, half loaf for the guesses so far in parking lot. Half loaf.
Oh, the love of the lagging. Never use a chat to transfer very important immediate information.
Yeah. Half loaf left, third loaf left.
Oh, God.
2 slices gone, quarter loaf. right. And Doreen says full loaf.
Well, Noreen here says it is.
Well, let's see. It is. What would that be? About
I'd say about
half.
Half. I'd say half.
So?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now a half might be. Well, I don't know. That's 4 slices or 6 slices. I always chop them off in pairs.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a special bread cutter that he uses.
Yeah, so every piece is the same.
It's really cool. It's made out of bamboo and cut.
Yep.
So that's what he uses to.
Christine says Eddie finishing off again.
No, not today. No, gosh.
Yeah. I was eating grapes earlier. She bought me some grapes.
Yeah, because every week is there anything specific you'd like from the store? And he said, grapes. Oh, okay.
So she bought me some grapes, and I take them. I bring them down here because we've got a. You okay with that? We've got a machine for our washer that
We have eco washing.
It's an eco washer, and it attaches an extra negative ion under the water. So when we don't wash our clothes in detergent anymore. So when the clothes get washed, that negative ion in the water attaches itself to the dirt and the stink on the clothes. They cancel each other out, and then it rinses out. And I wash my vegetables with that. I've got a little hose that comes off.
A little hose to it,
and I can wash my vegetables with that.
It's nice
vegetables and fruits,
clean water on.
So I brought them down here. I rinsed them off. I took them upstairs. I'm sitting there eating them out of the strainer. And he comes up and jumps in my lap, and he's like, in my face. He's like, I'll grab a grape out of the thing. He's like, this is him. Following the grape up to you. He's like, no, doggies don't get grapes. So I had to go
dogs are not allowed grapes.
I had to go to the kitchen and get him some chunks of chicken and kind of toss them to him as I was eating the grapes.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I'll look at him and say, Edward, you're being rude.
He's aggressive about it. Yeah, he's like any dog, The food is the business. The business of a dog is the food. And yeah, that's their business.
That's their business. I'm working here.
I'm working.
Yeah.
And that's how he got his name Eddie. If you guys are familiar with the Frasier show and the little dog on there named Eddie, he was always staring at Frasier. And the first time we brought him home, and I walked into the bedroom to hang my coat up or something, and I come back out. You're on the couch, you're eating something. He's on the other side of the couch, and he's just staring at you, just staring at you. And then it hit me. Eddie's your name. Yeah. Eddie's
and
your
then
name.
Various derivations of, Edward, Sir Edward barks a lot, Sir Edward licks a lot,
Eduardo.
Sir Edward digs a lot.
Yeah. He's.
I think tonight it was Licksalot I put on there because of all the licking going on when we got home.
Oh, he was very excited. We've been gone about 7:45 till about 4:30.
Yeah, we were gone. I got home and I'm looking at the dog and I say, if we worked like regular outside jobs where we had to go clock in, this would be your daily routine experience with us. We disappear in the morning and not get home till 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. So,
but yeah.
So he's spoiled. He's got us home most of. Well, her at least. I still got to go out and. Yeah, I go out and work every once in a while.
I go, dog. You're lucky. I work at home, and I only leave here if I got to go to the post office or to the grocery store. That's pretty much the only time I leave here. So. Yeah, he's got a nice little life, but I have to. It's so funny. So we were with Jenna and Joe with J&J Family Finds, and she always brings her little dog Remy. And when they were starting to go through the unit, they got Remy's in a little way off. She's got a little pile of blankets. She's got a fan blowing on her. She's got her little thing of water, and she's over there.
Just like sort of nesting in the blankets.
She's tucked away, and she is so comfortable. I go, that dog is, spoiled little princess.
So there were 2 dogs there today.
There was 2 dogs, and Bandy's treasures. Dave and Becky, they bring their little. He's a cute. I forget what kind of breed he is, but his name's Buster, and he is so cute.
Yeah.
He's just a cute little thing.
He had a little handle on his back, so you could pick him up.
Yeah, he's a little guy. He's a little guy. So it was fun hanging out with the dogs. Yeah, that's the only reason we go see the dogs. KT Treasures wasn't there, so we didn't say AJ.
Yeah, we didn't see AJ. I was kind of looking forward to seeing AJ too.
But it was nice.
And we had thought in the past about bringing Eddie, and no, it's just too much.
Yeah. You too, Mayor Dan.
Yeah, Mayor Dan.
Roy from Avery's all in.
Roy was there. Now, you know what? Grab those. Roy brought some stuff too.
Yeah. Woo! Get trapped.
All right.
Yeah, I'm all right.
So there's more trucks to show.
Just the two here?
Yeah, just those two. Actually, he brought more, but I'm going to show these.
Okay.
So he had an auction where he sold some Tonka trucks a little while back. But before that, we were at Sussin last time, and we were like walking through the hallways there. And I forget how the conversation started, but I think what it was we were talking about the one truck that he was going to have an auction. And I said, there's one like that, only in better condition on Facebook. I said, I wish I said it's in Berea, and I said I wish I could go get it, but trying to coordinate with somebody in Berea, I said I'm probably not going to be able to do that. He says, well, I'm in Berea. He says, I'll go get it for you. So I showed him which one it was on my phone, and I messaged the woman, and she says, yeah, it's still here. You want to come get it? So I said, go call him, son, my buddy, and or maybe I forget, he might have messaged her. I forget what. This was a while ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, he went and got the truck for me, and this is the one he went and got for me, and I paid $100 for this one, and it's it's got all its stuff, and then he had his auction, and because one thing he said was you still gonna want mine at auctions? I said, dude, I can't get enough of these things. So then I bought his.
There's one up there too. Yeah.
Another one up there. And there's another one over there. I mean, I've got these packed away. I probably have 15 of these things by now. And then this is one I bought at his auction. So I'm actually going to try to, because this is just paint and crayon and stuff. I'm actually going to try to clean this and see how clean I can get it coming out. And then I'll put in a grill in it. But yeah, so Roy brought these, and then he actually, because I had bought some other stuff at his auction too, and that was in there as well. But it was really nice of Roy to go by that Facebook post lady's house or wherever we went to.
I get it now. No, Christy, it's getting close though. It is getting close.
What?
Noreen, have you had to move out yet? Laugh out loud. It's getting close.
I've got most of my Tonkas in the garage. See, what happens, and I've said this before, is I like having these tow trucks around, okay? They don't lose value. If I can get them cheap enough when you restore them to, I was really saying restore, when you modify them to look like tow trucks of certain oil companies like the Sinclair and the Union 76, you can get a lot more money for them. But what happens is I buy these, and I've got, like I said, I've got two there. I've got two on my lap. I've got one sitting right there. Okay,
on the bench.
That was the one that sat here. I just moved them around. So I got 5 right here in this room. What's going to happen is I'm going to pack these up and put them away, and then I'm not going to have any more. So when I see one, I say, "Oh, I need that," and I'm going to start buying them again. I mean, I've got like probably 10 of these things packed up and in the garage right now that, to my logic, I just don't have them because I can't see them.
Okay, Christine, I'll keep that in mind. Christine, okay.
You okay with it?
No, I'm not.
Are you planning on moving out? Because I'm,
Where am I going to sleep?
I don't know.
There's only one bed.
I haven't started stacking these things in the parts of the house we live in yet. So when I start running out of room, I start stacking them on your side of the bed. It's time for you to move. Okay?
Well, in fact, one of the projects that I'm working on, it's going to take the summer to do it, is we are in the process of what's the word I'm looking for? I hate this part. I always forget words these days. We organize. We have the sunroom where we used to do our show from few years back. You may remember the big white wall behind us. Well, that big white wall behind us is going to start having racking put up there.
Yeah,
we're going to refashion and reorganize the spare room so we can start putting bins in there. I mean, down here I got a little spot for my eBay bins, and the rest of it is just Conkys stuff. So I have to come up with a fun way to keep track of where these bins are. So we got bins in the living room now, and now a lot of the bins are going to go in the spare room. He actually bought the wood to make.
Yeah, so now our spare room smells like a
wood. It smells like wonderful because about 3 or 4 months ago it smelled like skunk. So
well, I took care of that with that machine I bought.
Yeah, but it still lingered for a little while. It's not so bad now. Now it smells like wood and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Fresh cut wood. Yeah, it smells good. So we're getting there. I'm just really happy with how I'm getting back on the eBay train, and it's just really great.
Yeah, because we're getting a little bit of consistent sales, and it'll grow as we put more new stuff on.
Right.
And we've got some stuff that's been on for quite a while, and we're trying to.
I got a clearance
trying to move that stuff through.
So, yeah, and we definitely have booked our spot.
Oh, so we booked our spot at Rogers for 4th of July weekend. And I don't know whether I mentioned on this channel before. I may have mentioned it on AA. Rogers has changed their format a little bit. And you no longer set up the if you're familiar with Rogers, there was an area between the train tracks and the creek that all the people like us go to. And that's now parking. Day sellers. So
they got areas.
We're going to be in a different area. So I'm actually going to go down there one Friday. I'm not going to call it a buying trip, but
just see how things
to see how things are
how it's going to look
are situated.
So since Rogers' big day is Friday, and 4th of July is on a Friday this year, so that's what we're going to do on Friday, and that's the only one we're going to do because Memorial Day did take a little out of us.
You right, Edward?
You all right, bud?
It's just tip when you change that filter behind, you use a cheap filter instead of a pleated one. That's a furnace filter. That is a furnace filter. That's kind of neat how that works because it'll either draw from that or it'll draw from the oven next to it. I can switch back and forth.
I got the Edward with me.
Oh, you got Edward?
Yeah. I love my little dog. He's my buddy. Yeah.
So this is Rogers sale is minutes from me.
Yeah, so we'll be down there.
So if you go down there on 4th of July weekend, we'll be and Rogers, you used to be able to set up on their website. Now it takes you to some sort of farm website where you have to book your spot, and that was a little weird. But
they just handed that task off to somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, what I used to do is I used to just call them and say, "Yeah, give me this spot and that spot," and they reserve it for me, and I pay them over the phone. But yeah, we've got two side by side spots down there, so hopefully that'll work out for us on the 4th.
So we'll go check it out. Maybe.
Edward doesn't pay any attention to the fireworks. He doesn't give a shit about them.
No, he did pretty well last year.
Yeah, he didn't care.
No, he did pretty well.
Yeah, he's not one of those dogs that cowers under the bed every time they start shooting.
Sammy didn't like him.
Sammy didn't like him at all. Yeah. No. He hated those things. No, Edward doesn't pay any attention to it.
It's not around us. Okay, we have the neighbor who is having mental health issues, and he's constantly yelling when he's outside. So there's that. And then the neighbors across the street, they got ATVs and motorbikes, and the kids are on those at least 2 to 3 hours every day. So it's a little noisy around here now, and so he's used to it being noisy.
Yeah. Now, this particular neighbor across the street with all the ATVs, we don't necessarily get along, and
we're not neighborly.
Yeah, we're not like really friendly with him, and I'm struggling with the best way to handle all the noise from the ATVs. Because what I could do if I wanted to is I could call the cops and say, look, kids are riding ATVs in the neighborhood. And there's a law in my area that says that you're not allowed to ride an ATV, motorcycle, any of that stuff within 50 feet of any property line. And the lots around here are 100 feet wide, which means that if you have a lot that's 100 feet wide, there's nowhere on your property you're allowed to ride the things. And they're over there constantly riding the damn things.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the neighbor, regardless of how I get along with them. I don't want to be the one that solves problems that way. But if it gets out of hand, I'm going to have to,
Yeah.
He's the kind of neighbor, and I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but he's the one that ran his, when we lost power here a few weeks ago, he's the one that ran his generator all night just so we can show off that he has one. And that's with the ATV. Look, everybody, I have an ATV. I can ride on my property. And I always laugh to myself. So, well, you got an ATV, but why don't you have a property you can ride it on? And most people, like I have a little Honda 70 trail bike. And I would love to get on. I stopped riding it at 999 miles. And I'm to the point where I want to get on it and enjoy it again. And I have property in other places where it's legal for me to go ride my bike. You know what I mean? I would never ride it around here because it's illegal to ride it on my property here. I have other properties for that purpose. He doesn't. So it's apparent that
no, there's just
the noise is going to be contained to our neighborhood, and we have to put up with it.
The thing is, they got the huge backyard. They got a huge backyard. Go right around all the backyard.
Right in the backyard.
But why must you be up in the front of the yard? Their yard is their front of their house is practically on the street.
Yeah, it's practically which doesn't fit the neighborhood anyway, because our neighborhood the houses sit back a little further. And I remember him getting a variance so that he could build his house closer to the road. And now he's got this little driveway, so the turnaround driveway in front of the house takes up the whole front yard. And he constantly has people over there, and they're parked up and down the street. It's just it's ridiculous. But I try to get along with everybody.
Yeah, And am I thinking, maybe for a couple years we'll have to deal with it, and then when the kid gets big enough, he won't be around it on it. So it's summer break now. He's home at 1:00. He takes it and rides it.
So we'll try to just get along with everybody, and
that's and the guy next door. I mean, he has some issues going on.
Yeah, he's a little cuckoo in the head.
And I just say prayers.
We just pray that he finds peace in his life, and something changes for him.
Yeah, we've known him since he was like 12 years old.
Yeah,
and it's
no surprise that things are turning out the way they're turning out.
Right, based on his mother.
So
we won't go any farther.
Yeah,
with that.
I don't know how we got down this road.
I don't know either.
The fireworks and the dog and the noise, I guess, is what led to that. But
there's always noise around.
We didn't really want to talk about that.
And then, sometimes Eddie goes out and adds his own noise. Yeah. And I got to at least I bring him in.
Well, he's got the collar thing to where if he's close enough to one of our phones, I can ring the collar, and he knows that means get your ass in the house.
Right, and he's trained that if he comes in, he gets a treat.
Yeah.
But, it's supposed to be when
But if he's like over on the other side of the garage, I'm like, okay, I gotta take the phone till it detects his tag, and then I wish I had like repeaters in the yard so that, and I don't even know how that would work or if that's even available, but I wish I had some sort of thing in the yard where from inside the house I can do the thing, because it's like usually when he does it, it's like 11 o'clock, like the last. Okay, go outside before we go to bed, and he goes out there. Of course, my shoes are already off, and I'm getting ready for bed. He goes outside and starts barking his butt off. So.
Have no pants on at that time. And then I have to go out because I can just grab my house coat here and grab my sandals and I'm out. He's got to go back.
The beauty of our backyard is it's pretty much completely surrounded by vegetation. In the summertime, when the leaves, in the winter when all the leaves all go around, you can see right through everything. I think I'm going to, and this is another subject. I mean, it's almost time for us to end the live, but I think this December I'm actually going to start propagating, or I might just buy some. I don't know, some of the arborvitae, maybe the green giant or the regular size arborvitae. They're not that expensive. You can get a 1 to 2 foot bush for $10 to $20, and I was going to line our yards with that, but a little bit of patience. You can actually take clippings and like make your own. You know, it takes a couple more years, but you know, I calculated how much it was going to cost to do our whole perimeter, so that year round we had screening, and it was like $1,000 worth of trees that would have grown into their maturity and you know, did what I wanted to do within like 5 years. So.
And I saw Everett's comment about, you know, Memorial Day used to be called Decoration Day, and one comment in our county, they now have designated days that you can shoot off fireworks. It used to be just the 4th of July. I mean, everybody expects it. Yeah, 4th of July, people are getting, you know. And of course, it sounds like a war zone around here.
Yeah, like it does anywhere, I'm sure.
But they included Memorial Day on that. And my thinking is Memorial Day really a holiday that we should be shooting fireworks on? Just food for thought. I don't think it's appropriate. Yeah, they used to call it Decoration Day because, you know, the idea was you would go and decorate
the graves,
clean them up of the soldiers that had passed. I mean, it all came out of the Civil War, but now it's Memorial Day, and the whole idea of Memorial Day is to think about those who have lost their lives in battle, trying to protect the freedom of this country, which should be a little bit more of a solemn kind of feel to it a little bit, but now it's all tied into the first official weekend of the summer, and people are shooting fireworks off, and you're like, you know, at least to my sensibilities, it's like, fireworks, really?
I never put that much thought into it. I just,
you know, is that really honoring the moment of what Memorial Day is? You know, it shouldn't really be a party weekend. You know, it should be some thought to it.
That's what people do.
I don't know. That's just me. I'm old. I'm weird, and it's just that was my thought.
If somebody wants to party on that weekend, that's why those soldiers died. So that if you want to party on Memorial Day, you can party on Memorial Day.
Well, we just that's commemorated D-Day this past week. So, you know, you think about, you know.
So we've been on for about an hour. We're going to go ahead and end the live. And
thank you all. 94 of you that are hanging out here. We appreciate your guys' support and time with us. And you guys have a great week. It looks like summer's finally shown up. Finally shown up. And I'm just going to enjoy the next 4 months before, it starts to turn again. Welcome to Northeast Ohio.
Sounds good.
You guys take care. Love ya. See you next Saturday night, 8 p.m.
Hopefully with another streaming service. Hopefully we'll have that settled out. All right. Good night, everybody.
Night.